Peace, Sister Ani E. Peace, peace. Islam, everyone. I was just, I was just going over to the family that's here with me, who I am. Welcome to the first Wednesday of the month with Karu Il. Thank you, Sister Roz and Sister Ani Eid and Ms. and the family that are out there. Thank you. I'm grateful to have this space and hold this space to talk about what I do and to share some of the knowledge and experience that I have with health, with healing, with herbology, and helping people in their daily lives heal. As I was telling the people here with me before the blog talk started, I was talking to them about how it's important for us to heal, and my job as a healer in the community. And I don't know if I want to say like a humanitarian. I'm for all people as far as our people. But my specialty, where I focus on, is our people who are transitioning into freedom and people who are already declared. Because it's a lot of work in that area, and it's needed because we don't have anyone. It's hard to find people who get it, if that makes any sense. So I've been to healers all over, but if you still using these misnomers, not the like the small ones sometimes, because I know that we use certain terms for lack of for betterment of conversation or whatever, so everybody can understand and understand. But just things where, for example, years ago I went to an acupuncturist. Everybody heard of acupuncture before? And I went to an acupuncturist, and she had a book for people that she deals with who are melanated, and a book for the non-melanated people. And I was like, I could dig it. I'm with her. You can't deal with us like as a whole because we have different constitutions, right? And so, it's very important. We don't have anybody for us. So I had this whole spiel that I was going to do. Like next month, we're gonna talk about the winter season and healing during the winter season, and that's all good and that's great. But in between then and now, I've been getting lots of calls and lots of my people that needs my attention. So meaning I need to deal with what's going on right now. Yeah, we have the winter going on, but some of the issues that are being brought up to me, especially amongst folks in our community, are being protected. So meaning spiritual protection. Especially when we're dealing with our people, especially people who are already into the metaphysics and the spiritual realm, consciousness is awareness. That doesn't mean it's righteous. So you got people who know what they're doing, and they could affect those who aren't too aware, or people who aren't even thinking like this, or people who are unprotected. And that's been a big thing because some of our most beautiful scholars are being affected, and they can't do their work right now, or they're sick, or they're down, or they feel fatigued, or they're lost, or they're just broken. So the first gate, would definitely be protection. You wouldn't go right now. You wouldn't go to China by yourself with no itinerary, with one there. You know what I mean. You would actually have to build a shield around yourself to feel even comfortable with going, and not knowing what's going to happen to you. So we're going to talk about protection. I'm going to give you a few herbs that are good for not only protection but cleansing, because we attract what we are. So therefore, a lot of us are not even conscious that we are just holding things from 1974, something that our sister did, and that's the reason why we keep attracting or having those codependent relationships, I like to call them, where, brother, say, for instance, your father was an alcoholic, right? Now, say your brother was an alcoholic, and you were the responsible one, and that was 35 years ago, and now you're older, and you've been married for a time and all your wives been alcoholics, but you've never picked up anything. Exactly. You've never picked up any glass of nothing. And so, right, and so you still, it's a codependent, right? So some people think codependent, oh, it's the person with the addiction, but it's the person that's addicted to the people with the addictions that's actually a detriment in our families as well. So cleaning those things off so we don't carry them and we don't keep them, and then later on we have all these crazy diseases and we don't know what our cancers are. We don't know what our poisons are. And we have to identify them, and if we identify them sooner than later, we're using preventative medicine healing on ourselves instead of like now having to just go through the whole works. I see it all the time, people don't want to die, so they wait to the last minute to take care of themselves, right? So, I'm going to talk about, how we can move through that, identify those things, heal those things, talk about those things, build community around those things, trust in ourselves, trust in each other, want more for ourselves, and really just how to live, okay? The way we say we need to live. Because I'm looking around like, where's the Sultan? Where's the Sultan? They kidnapped him 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? All the people that's supposed to be in the places, we not in those places, and we not close to those places, but we are. And so what's that missing link? It's the healing. It's the earth. It's being connected. It's reconnecting ourselves. So the better way to even explain that, I'm going to do it through the chakra system. Have anybody heard of the chakra system? Yes? Can you tell me something that you know about the chakra system? Yes, there's seven wheels or centers or discs, they call them, in our chakra system or our subtle body. The chakra system is basically your chi, your spiritual and your spirit, your aura. That's the you that you can't see, right? The you that actually, people really think that they're seeing people, but they really see energy. Like you're not beautiful or ugly because of the features on your face, but it's because of that light that shines. That's your chi, that's your chakra system. And in the chakra system, you have 7 wheels that make up the whole. And I call them the 7 chambers in the temple, just because it gives it think about it, every system is a chamber. So we're going to go through these chambers and how these chambers make up our whole and how we can fix, restore, and identify what chambers we need to seal or to open or to clean or to clear or whatever we need to do it. And again, we have 7. Today I'm going to go through the first 2 because I don't really, the prophet said if you give them too much, they'll fall back to sleep. And like that is such a true statement. Like, how many times when I first got into this, I was giving people too much, and literally, like, a lot of people went back to sleep because it's right, and we have to, like, process, and we have to go through these things. We have to learn how to not do these things the way they taught us in school to do it. We can't cram it. It has to go through us thoroughly, and we have to, like, not only know it, but practice these things until we know these things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first, I want to talk about cleansing because it's been a rough few weeks. As you can see, I'm dressed for whatever. I'm dressed like anything could happen because that's how it's been every single day. I've been getting calls, emergency calls, non-emergency calls that people, just everything. And a lot of people come to me. They come to me for health consultations and spiritual consultations and just all different types of healing modalities or things to heal themselves. And oftentimes I'm finding it, I don't know what happened, but after this whole Trump thing, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. And so it's been overwhelming. People create their own spells, right? So everything's about perception. So they became in which they thought is going to happen and who they feel what they really are, whether they know it or not. It's a big thing. But people created these like balls of fear around themselves. And so when I open up a space for healing for them and for help and healing for them, it could be dangerous for me or dangerous for anybody who they decide to talk to. And people don't notice that. Like, say, for instance, this brother just got into a hot and heavy argument on the street or fight on the street, and he comes in here and he goes, brother, you won't believe what happened, da-da-da-da-da. What you don't know is that you're getting some of that energy. And if you don't know how to use it, and you're not conscious of it and don't know how to release it, you go home, you take it into your bed, your wife all angry in the morning. They feel a lot better. And it's happening, and it's always happened, but the energy is very toxic out here. So it's like, the people that have been calling me, it's never been to a point where almost every person that I'm speaking to, I'm like, oh, before I even deal with you, you have to take a bath, a spiritual bath. You have to cleanse yourself. You have to smudge yourself. You have to steam yourself. You have to smoke yourself. You know, it's just been like back to back to back to back to back. And for people, the more you know, kind of like the more dangerous it is in a way for you. Really. Just because you're under the eye of the beast. But at the same time, you know, Allah is our protector. So, yeah. So let's talk about cleaning ourselves. Yes, please. I'm gonna wait for Sister Carmen to give me a marker. I mean, I don't need a marker if no one's gonna be writing. Okay. Okay. So some people, so we're talking about cleansing here. So some people think that they'll say, I hear all the time, oh, well, you know, I burn incense all the time. I want to let you know that incense is great to tickle, you know, the spirits in the air and to fancy the air element, but that does not clear your energy, especially if you're using something like myrrh or cocoa mango butter. That just keeps whatever you have in your space, it keeps it in your space, right? Like if you're trying to get rid of something unwanted, you want to like rain on their parade. You want to cleanse it out. You want to disperse the energy. You don't want to like hug it. And so those things do that. So yeah, incense is good, but not if you want to intentionally clean energy out of your face for protection and for cleansing. So some things I want to go over. Everybody heard of white sage? You bought some today. Good. So it's good. I'm sure a lot of people by now, even on the blog talk, heard of white sage. But don't just take your white sage stick and just like do this, or just wave it around in the air and think you did something, right? So how you want to use your white sage? How you want to use your white sage is you always want to, and when you clean, and especially when you clean your house, you don't want to let everybody in your house either. You know that. People know that not everybody's invited. However, you know how we tell people to take your shoes off? That's not because of just the dirt from on the street, but it's the things that they carry and the places they go when you don't know they're bringing their story in your home. So definitely cleansing is important. So you want to white sage from the back of your house to the front of your house. I go thorough. Peace, brother. I go thorough. I open windows, closets, cabinets, doors. I open it all because you want a place for this energy to go. Yes. Yes. Ventilate the place. And while you're doing this, you put your intentions. Be intentional in everything that you do. You want to clean the doorknobs of your home? Please say it again, say it loud. Yeah. Yeah, it's different. So the white sage is more, I'm sorry, say it again? The white sage is actually indigenous from the ground. The green sage have been tempered, I don't want to say it's a hybrid, but it's not in its original form. It's really and it's not like cleansing. It's not as potent as the white sage, you want to say. And you could tell, like, when you burn the white sage as opposed to the green or the slightly brown sage, it's not really that potent. So definitely white sage. So open everything and be intentional. Be very, very intentional in everything you do. Smudge your body. If you feel like, if you haven't smudged your sage, if you feel like you could be a little dirty, which if you had went out today or if you spoke to somebody from the outside, 9 times out of 10 you need to be smudged, smudge yourself. Clean yourself with the sage. Just for people who can't see me, just use your common sense. Use it. Go with the spirit. The righteous spirit. Because people say they use that word too much, and I'm like, what spirit? Yes. So when you smudge yourself, smudging is smoking yourself. So again, when you smoke yourself and you smudge yourself, you always start cleaning from your head and you go down. And you could use a lime, you could use fruit, lemon, grapefruit. I always put it at my door. And if I had a really rough day, especially for moms or for people who, when they get in the house, is another story, where you don't even have time, everything just gets flipped. Keep these things at your door so that energy don't get past that door. When you know that you take a sea salt bath right away. When you know you got to deal with everybody before, cleaning yourself or having that space for yourself. You take these things to the door, put them at the door, have a little bag, and you could toss it. I wouldn't bring the bag in the house if you have an incinerator or a garbage. Let that be a part of your routine. From your head to your toe, you'll take the lime, you'll take the lemon, you'll take the grapefruit, you'll take the sage, and you'll go from your head all the way down to your toe. When you go down, don't come back up. Just get another piece of fruit or whatever you're cleaning yourself. You can clean yourself with beans. You can clean yourself with bread. Anything that holds energy. I remember one day I cleaned a sister. She had MS, and I don't know what kind of session we were doing, but before I did it, I had to take some energy off of her. And I told her to get me some bananas, and it was like 6 bananas in my hand. I cleaned her from her head to her toe. By the time I got to her toe, every banana was out of the peel, and the bananas, it was brown. And so that's what I would have been absorbing. And that's what she's holding around on her. So, and these things are actual, this is energy or spirits or whatever you want to call them. Right, so when we're talking about taking energy off before coming in the house, you don't have to open a lemon. You don't have to open a lime, as is. You could do it with eggs. Yeah, the eggs are really good. In Native American, in our culture, in the Taino culture, they call it limpia, so a cleansing, limpia. Mhm. Yes. Okay. The brother said that he meant 5 and 5 pieces from Santeria. Okay. The hunter, a Chosi. Okay. So the hunter, a brother said that he met 5 priests and priestess over the weekend, and one of them said that he was the hunter. So I know in the Orisha tradition or Ifa tradition or Santeria or yeah, because they use those Orishas. Right. From the Orishas is, similar to so in the Ifa system they have Orishas, which are expressions of God, right? Expressions of nature. And so you have different Orishas for different things, and these are just different aspects within yourself that may need to be cultivated or activated or opened. So the hunter is his spiritual gift, his attributes, and the hunter would be, I believe, Ochosi. So you have the opener of the way, you have the clearer of the path, the opening of the path, the person who opens the path for you. Then you have the person who clears the path for you, and then it has the person who creates what's on the path. So I feel like it's between Ochosi is like that creator. He's with the clearer of the path. That's like the hunter. So he has the swords in his hands. He's like, yeah, chopping things down in the Ifa tradition. Does that make sense? Wow. You gotta look that up and let me know what you come up with. Look that up. So I'm gonna continue on Palo Santo. Palo Santo is something else that you can cleanse your space with. Palo Santo it's a wood, very woody. It's a stick, a wooden stick. And that disperses sage, what white sage does, it cleanses, it's like really like a rain shower, right? On anything, get the corners of your house too. Corners, energy gets stored in the corners. We have to do these things until we can build our own structures out of better material. The material that we build our structures in, and then who is building our structures is very important for how we're going to be living and how we're going to be occupying the energy that's occupying this space. So we can only do but so much in this space, because it's been built and this material is actually like a hybrid, like it's not natural material. So we're dealing with like a false structure. So literally the things that I'm going over, these things are not like optional. These things are not like, okay, this is a part of like your square, your gene. This is law. And these are the steps that we forgot, and that's why we want to jump to writing writs, and we all screwed up, right? Like I've read some off the wall writs, like what, huh? You know what I mean? Let's clean. Let's clean. These are just the beginning steps, and these are like the basic steps of really, again, taking care of yourself. So Palo Santo disperses the energy right away, like that poof, that cloud, just like that. Sage moves it out. Palo Santo like poofs it out. If that makes any sense. And it raises the vibration. The salts of the earth. Sea salt. Sea salt can never hurt, especially when you're like, if you're very empathetic, if you absorb a lot, if you go around and you see things, I would carry sea salt on you. Bathe in sea salt. If sea salt baths. If you have high blood pressure, don't use sea salt in the bath. But if you're good, high blood pressure free, sea salt bath, it takes off all that compromising energy, literally. For all those people who are constantly going into court, put it in your pocket, especially if you're sensitive, because you're just picking up, like, you're just picking up extra energy you don't need. Like, I'm gonna tell you a story. Like, I'm extremely sensitive. Like, I always have to keep my head wrapped for the most part. It's great for us women to do that because it's our protection. Our crowns are very important and sacred. So one time, this was like years ago, I'm going to tell you two stories. Years ago, I went for like an interview for a plantation, one of these plantations out here. And I was standing in between two groups of people. And I was standing in between a rowdy group and in between a very quiet group. But unfortunately, the very quiet group was non-melanated, right? And the rowdy group was very melanated. And so everything in me was like, no, I'm not going towards the non-melanated people. I don't care how rowdy these melanated people are. Where I could have just stood my own square, But at the time, this is how I interpret what I had to do to be more, to be fit, I guess, to be me, right? And so I'm listening to these. I'm trying not to absorb what they're saying, but they're like, nigga this and nigga that and this and that on the job. Like, it was like an open call. And when we went in, because there was a line outside, we went in, and it was some kind of like a banquet hall or something. So we all sat down. And again, I had the choice to sit next to the melanated sisters or the non-melanated sisters. And the non-melanated women were like looking at the soccer game very quietly. And I'm like, I'm not going over near them. I'm going to go over and sit next to my sisters. One of them had her legs up on the table, right? It's so funny. So by the time I get to do the interview, the lady says, so tell me about yourself. And I turn around and I say, I get money, right? And I remember it was just so, like, the whole way home, I'm on the train trying to figure out where did this come from. Like, I don't even ever remember singing that song before, But I straight absorbed the energy that was in the environment. And that wasn't conducive for me. I totally, whatever. I didn't need that, but just to see how I'm very sensitive and how a lot of people don't even know that they're this sensitive. Like, where are your thoughts coming from? So clean yourself off, especially when you're going into these institutions, because they have their own set of rules and rituals and things that you're walking into, and you don't need those things in your home, and you don't need them in your space at all. What else? There's an herb called rue. Or ruda. People on the phone, it's called ruda or rue. It's an herb. And this herb, if you're not in a place where it's not available for you, you could definitely contact me. I'll give you my contact information. But rue is definitely an important herb because it's an herb of the East, first off, but it's amazing for protection and cleansing. Yes, you can find them here in New York or wherever at the Botanicas. And again, if you are not in a place where it's available, just contact me. So rue is a herb that I studied for 8 months, ate, slept, drank, everything this herb. I had to do a whole medicinal protocol in herbal medicine school on rue, and that's the herb that I chose. But that's for protection. So that keeps the evil eye off of you. Meaning, like, for instance, I have and how it works is amazing. I have so many stories. So I'm a birth, postpartum. I help women have babies. And so, of course, all the women that come my way and all the women that cross my path are women who are not trying to get no birth certificates or not trying to sign any kind of contracts where they're signing their lives or their children's souls over. So rue is very important in my work because especially for the women who already have these types of issues before, but when they didn't know certain things and they, we jump into things not knowing and we get ourselves caught up, I remember making an oil for a sister who they, like, the policy officers, she was on a plantation, in housing and in the projects, and they took her gates off her window and they raided her house. Like, I've never seen nobody take those gates off of those projects, and the policy officers did that. And they were looking for her, and she got hurt. They did a whole bunch of stuff, and she ended up getting away, and her husband ended up, her king ended up getting away. But then they were after her again, and I had gave her the root oil, and she was able to move. Like, when she used the oil, it kind of make you not there. Like, people don't kind of see you. I don't know how. It's just the protection that's over you. So what they said is, throughout history and her story, all of, like, the major prophets gave their disciples or their people around them rue to hold. And so in my experience with rue is that when I keep it close to me, everything that I know is right there. All of the wisdom that I've acquired and everything that I know is just like, it's easily accessible. So, and I didn't know it until I heard, like, oh, wow, I noticed I was always in my wisdom. And therefore, like, what you know is your protection. So you're using everything that you've acquired up until this time in your world. So daily baths with rue, how you would do it is boil some water, and you would pour boiling water over about a half a cup or a cup of rue. Let it sit, cover it, and let it sit for about, usually let it sit like 15 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes. Pour it in your bath water when it's halfway full, and cleansing it. And, like, you could always take a shower before you do the bath, whatever. Some people are like, oh, I don't take baths. Or whatever reason, cleansing is important. Cleansing is definitely important. I hear people coming with all types of excuses not to clean themselves sometimes. Let's see what else. So we talked about the mind, right? Lime on your doorknobs. Clean your doorknobs. Don't forget to clean. People touch your doors. You touch your doors. Your floors. You could use that rue to clean your floors too. That's a really good one. I made a big jar of oil for another lady, and she said that the whole jar fell on her floor. And so ever since that happened, she would only get it for her floor. That's what she needed it for, which was interesting because later, like a couple of years later, that was her. That she had that problem. It was the people that were coming into her house, things they were bringing in. It was a huge story after that, but it was, you could use the floors. I know ammonia is very hard, but ammonia has different things in it that help with that whole spiritual cleansing, just the different chemicals they mix together. It's harsh. It is harsh. I don't use ammonia, but I believe that you use what you have in your house and in your home. Don't let anything be an excuse for you not taking care of yourself and you not protecting yourself. Again, us women, our turbans, our head wraps, definitely keep your head covered, especially when you go into these institutions, when you go on public transportation. You could easily lose yourself and not even know it. Easily. Like, I could take my head wrap at the computer in a library, and 2 weeks later, I'm like, wow, I remember being at the computer at the library. This thing was easy, whether you know it or not. What else? Apple cider vinegar and rosemary. So let's talk about rosemary. Why rosemary is so good is because rosemary is both, we talked briefly about the chakras, but we're going to go back into that more later. But something about rosemary. Rosemary is good for the root chakra, which is your base chakra, the first, your foundation, right? Is like to remember. And when we talk about remembrance of Allah, right? That's your memory. That's your ancestry. That's the law. That's the land. And it's also, but rosemary is great physically for the head, right? And so when you think about the head, that's to know, right? So to remember is to know. And to know is to remember. And rosemary is a great protector, right? It relieves headaches and tension. Anytime you have a lot of headaches or migraines or anything going on with your head, you're always dealing with some type of psychic attack or somebody or something trying to alter your destiny. So rosemary is a feminine, powerful warrior. She's the protectress. You know, hence when our loved ones transition, they usually throw rosemary on the coffin. Right? That's because it's both the head and it's both the tail. That's life and death. Right? And that's protection for in those realms. That's overall protection. So rosemary, the same thing with rue, you want to do a basic steep. A steep, S-T-E-E-P. To steep herbs is always by boiling the water and pouring the boiling water over the herb and letting it sit. And always cover it up because there are some herbs that have volatile oils or essential oils, which is like the oils that you need to in your body, and you don't need it to evaporate. So rosemary, rue is really good. If you're dealing with anything or something that's like on you, again, the rue gets things off of you, but also like feverfew. There's an herb called feverfew. Hence fever. So when I don't want to go so deep, but pyretic is the term we use for getting the heat out of your body, breaking a fever. And when there's a fever in the body, it's your body fighting, trying to get something off of you, out of you. So it helps break and get things out of you. Let me write that down. Garlic as well. Everything garlic. Like everything, if you need to clean something and you want to, garlic is so amazing because you could think, what do we always know garlic used for? Vampires. Where we living in the time of zombies and vampires? Like the garlic bulb started growing when, as you've seen, more and more of the pale European influence. And so it was going for us. So a lot of herbalists are like, oh, stay away from garlic. That's for the Caucasian, the Caucasoid. But no, that's for us dealing with them. The land grow with us. You know what I mean? Like, you got to remember who we are. So I always use garlic. Garlic cleans everything. If you feel like you're being attacked at night, if you're feeling like you just have unwanted things around you, of course, garlic gets rid of infections and bacteria out of the body, and it does that on the outside too. So I often tell people if, sometimes they're going through some stuff. A lot of the college students, people coming out of college, a lot of them, like college is crazy these days because people come out I have to give them garlic before I even deal with them. Like, sleep with garlic around you because they don't know how to close themselves up after being open. Like, college just opens you up. Right? And so they have so many things coming in and out. And so garlic around, I'd be like, put garlic around your bed, put it under your pillow. A lot of people always say, wow, I've never got that, such a good sleep in a long time. Oh my God, I slept, 8 hours straight, so, because garlic protects you from the vampires. People who are preying on you through the night. Also, if you are a non-meat eater and you live in a place where you sharing pots and pans and spoons and knives and forks and plates and bowls with people who eat meat, garlic takes that energy of meat off. So you could clean your dishes in garlic. It takes that energy off. If you're a Muslim and you live with a Christian, you know what I mean? Same thing. No offense to any, because all our people, but definitely you gotta protect yourself. No offense, but self-protection, the command. Let's talk about feverfew, garlic, white sage, rue, lime. You can use lemon, but lemon is kind of like hybrid. What else? Oh, protection. Okay, pepper. This is an old school folk medicine, Geechee, Gullah, pepper at your door. Cayenne pepper, black pepper at your doors. Sea salt in your corners, sea salt at your doors. All of them. Once you clean, then you can bring in your mango, cocoa, scent, incense, and, your myrrhs and all that stuff to bring the vibration of love in. But you got to get that other stuff out. It's like getting your oil changed in your car, and instead of them, changing the oil, they just put new oil on top of old oil, It's a mess. How that looks is that somebody coming up in here and they just got all the crystals on them. They know all of the terms, the lingo, but they hot messes, they all off. they did too much. They use everybody's information and they put it all together. For those who just walked in, we talking about how to clean yourself and how to spiritually protect yourself. This is the health class, the health and wellness class. So how to spiritually protect yourself in these days that we're in. So we went over different things that you could clean your house and clean your space with, because everybody in this room and everybody online are in the know. And to be in the know, again, consciousness is just awareness. And so you got a whole bunch of people out here that are aware, and they are purposely here to really ride your back to stop you and distract you from doing what you're doing. And then you could even get caught up in that. You know what I mean? You got brothers and sisters in high positions that you've known, on the path, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, brother, I don't get it. You know what I mean? It come to you with something twisted all of a sudden, and you could get caught up easy. So, yeah. So now I talked about steeping, how to steep your herbs from pouring boiling water over fresh or dry herbs. If you use fresh herbs, definitely you have to get double the amount. So say, for instance, you go out and get some rosemary. Say this brother gets fresh rosemary and this brother gets dry rosemary and he wants to take a bath. A cup of fresh rosemary will equal 2 cups of dry rosemary. You get it? So you always got to double up when you have fresh herbs. Okay. So then we have a decoction. So say you find, say you go and you leave here and you go, okay, Carew told me about the rue and the rosemary and all the sage. You could even bathe in sage, right? You could bathe in sage. You could do the oils and things like that. How you would make the oils for yourself is, if you want to make a rosemary oil, a sage oil, or rosemary, sage, and rue oil all together, you would just take some extra virgin olive oil, put it in a jar, a glass jar, and you would put it in the sunlight. Make sure it's sealed, and make sure that it's to the top. You don't want to leave no space in the glass jar, no air for it to get in. and you want to sit it in the sunlight for at least 4 weeks. And I like to shake it up every day. And again, this will make, now it may not be aromatic unless you have an herb that has an aromatic smell that's very potent. But these oils are straight for like spiritual and medicinal uses. So when you do the root oil, like I said, the sister that did the root oil, when the policy officers was, on her and raiding her house, got her out of there, that's how you would make the same oil. If you have to do an oil for quick fast, if you have a crock pot, you can make it in a crock pot the same way. But it don't take 4 weeks. It would take about 2 hours on low temperature. So if you need a rosemary oil, even for your hair, rosemary is great for the hair because, again, it has that, it's a protector. So it's going to protect the scalp. It's going to protect your hair follicles. It's going to, yes, brother? Okay. Does heat? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it pulls from the herb a lot faster. When you heat anything, really. That's why when you would put the herb in a mason jar or a jar to make it over a period of time, you would want to make sure it's in the sunlight. But that's like it takes time. It's time. That's a better. But if it's an emergency, your crock pot on low for 2 hours, put the herb and put the extra virgin olive oil or whatever oil you want to carry it with. When it's finished, let it sit. If you don't want to burn yourself, strain it and use it how you need to use it. Sometimes I want to connect my hair with the sun, and so I make sure I have my oils in my hair or my crystals or whatever the case may be. Talked about garlic. Let's see, rosemary. Any other herbs I'm forgetting? Oh, apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is not more so for protecting, but for releasing, just like feverfew, right? So feverfew and rue are cousins. They're good for expelling things. So if you got something that you want to get rid of it, traditionally our people, when we got rid of things, just like when we started things, we didn't just say, okay, bye, that's it. I'm not smoking no more. I'm not gonna be with him no more. I'm gonna get rid of this low vibrational stuff. It's done. No, traditionally we had ceremony around it, right? So on our way to getting these herbs, to picking them, on our way to when we draw in our bath water, when we have our pots on our stoves, when we're shaking up our oils every day, we're being very intentional. Intention is prayer. We're being very thoughtful about what we're doing. Every step counts. We're talking and we're communicating with these herbs. We're communicating with these parts of nature. So don't just do it, but create a space around it. And we need that. We know that. That's why sometimes we don't get closure with our. That's why we're having this conversation. Because we all got stuff that we haven't closed out. We don't know how to close it out. We still carrying it around. But we really do need to be, we have to have that, like sometimes we're like, oh, you have to have an invitation? Yes. I need that space to properly do this. Or else, again, we have what we have now. So let's talk about some other terms because I want you to learn as much as you can. Hold on. Can I erase this? Okay, everybody got it? Everybody got it? Okay. Oh, but we didn't go over decoction. Let me do that one. A decoction and an infusion. A decoction is when you are dealing with the harder. So say you say, okay, Karu, I'm past that. I did my rosemary. I did my root. I know about all those herbs, and I want to get to the root. I want to work the root, right? That's what they say. So when we deal with roots, we decoct. That's basically boiled. So when you deal with the delicate parts of the flowers, like the plants and the leaves and the seeds sometimes, you want to just steep. You don't want to boil these parts of the plant. These are delicate parts. You can kill everything. What you want to do is you want to steep it. Pour boiling water over it, cover it up, let it sit. Now, when you do that to herbs that are high in nutritional value, like high in mineral content and high in nutritional value, such like nettle, alfalfa, raspberry. This is an infusion, so you would let it sit at least 8 hours because it's so high in the content. The more it sits, the more nutritional, the more medicine you're getting out of it. So when you see infusion anywhere when it comes to herbs, or we infuse it, you can sit it for as long as you want, and it just gets stronger. A decoction, again, is the hard parts, the bark, the root, right? Dandelion, ginger root, burdock root, faux tea root. These things, anything that's a root or the hard part of the plant, you can decoct it. It means you can boil it. And it means you could also use it more than once. So you don't just boil it and throw it away. I don't ever, throw herbs away. I always give it back to the earth. So take it outside, even in the hood, wherever, give it back to the earth. And only get the herbs that you need, right? Because right now, of course, we have so much happening on our planet, but we need everything. So one of the rules to herbology is that you only get what you need. Don't pick no more. So when we decoct things, and again, when you're dealing with the root of anything, you're dealing with deeper issues, the root issues, ancestral things. Yes.
All right, I'm kind of worried about fruit trees.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind going into that as well? Going a lot of different,
specifically. Mhm. So you want to know what about the root section? Okay. So with your root, when you have dandelion root, so you would always know. Okay. So depends on what you have. As you said, what the ailment is. You would always look at it depends on the ailment. So if you're doing a cup of dandelion, if you're doing a liver cleanse, right, you want to cleanse your liver, and I give you dandelion, burdock, sarsaparilla, and ginger, and chickweed. Those are basically all roots. The sarsaparilla is not a root, but you would still boil it. You would do, it depends on the herb list, depends on the amount that you would get, depending on what's going on with your body. So say I do a tablespoon of burdock and dandelion and a few twigs of sarsaparilla, a teaspoon of yellow dock, and a half a teaspoon of ginger. Now, in herbalism, we won't say teaspoons, spoons, nothing like that. We say parts. So we'll say 1 part, because 1 part could be something different. It depends on the herbalist, depends on the healer, right? So 1 part could be like it could be as much as 1 part could be 1 tablespoon. 2 parts is 2 tablespoons and a half a part. But they never use like those measurements like tablespoon, teaspoon. We never use that. We just use part. So if you use just equal parts of each herb that I said, and you put it in, if you want to make 1 cup, you would put 2 cups in the pot, because you're boiling 1 cup, because you'll have 1 cup left. Does that make sense? And you will boil it, and then I usually simmer. Again, it depends on how strong you want it. So I'll cook it till it boils, and then I'll simmer it for a few minutes. And then it's hot, so you let it sit. So that's the rules of like decoctions. You're decocting, meaning boiling and pulling from. And the same thing, like we talked about the bath, a bath, when you want to make a spiritual bath for yourself, you always steep. Or you could decoct if it's the roots again. But steep it. If you're taking a bath, the water's halfway full, you pour it into the bathtub. Again, be very intentional. You bathe. And you, again, before that, you could take a shower before that. For those of you to say, I don't get clean, or whatever the case may be. So the women who are afraid of infections, one thing, a lot of women come to me like, oh, I don't sit in the water because I get infections. But you got to remember that this is medicine. And I think, we don't get that sometimes. But cleansing is important. And again, sometimes that could be the excuse for not cleaning. So you always look out for those types of things too. Those people who be like, no, get out of here with that sage, or I'm not bathing. You always look out for those things, because that may be telling you, who is who. What about also addiction? I want to talk about cleansing and addiction. And cleansing, because we have a lot of people who are like, let's say, like oversexed. So we have a lot of of that happening, which anything, an abuse of anything, is. I don't like how I wrote that. Hold on. Yes. You know what? The red just came up. It just came up. Okay, so let's talk about our sexual karma. So there's a whole bunch that go around this, but cleansing, this is something that our people don't know how to cleanse from, and it affects our relationships. It affects the way, it just affects our communities, because we are broken, and this is why we can't connect with each other, because we have so much of everybody else, and we can't find that spot anymore. And then we're walking around, again, with everybody else's stuff. Especially when we're walking out here, just unprotected. You have different people fit, and these days it's everybody, right? That you're picking up everybody's stuff. One day I was walking down the street, I'm like, wow, I feel like that guy just raped me. You know what I mean? Because it's potent. So you don't even have to have physical sexual trauma to have sexual trauma, to be honest with you, and even secondary trauma is bad. We could be sitting here talking about our stories, and we all need to be clean. Just because of that brother went through, and that brother went through, and that sister said, we take it in. So a good bath and a good herb to work with for people who deal with sexual trauma and needs to release sexual trauma. Give you a few herbs to bathe in, and this is not like a one-time thing. right? This is not like, I did it, I'm good. No, this is something that you want to work with and you want to get to know. No instant gratification. There's not one pill. Like, I have to tell people, especially corporate people, all the time, like, you see how you, or just some people who've been through all the schooling and stuff like that, I tell them all the time, just as you studied to get all that you got, this is the same thing. I don't have a pill. I don't have I didn't bottle it. There's no cream. It's really a change of lifestyle. So sexual karma, how do we clean ourselves from the things that we've been through and been traumatized through, and we pick up on a day-to-day basis that is like sexual and spiritual, to be honest. Like, the more spiritually aware you are, because, you know, you're dealing with the same thing. You're dealing with the Kundalini energy for both, from the base to the base of your spine to the top of your spine. That's the sexual energy, and that's the spiritual energy. So you cleaning both. There's an herb called Genetian. Genetian. Well, I don't know why I did those. Lobelia. So, Genetian, Lobelia, that's Genetian. Another herb called Lobelia, Lobelia. Squavine, Squawine, and Damiana, Damiana. So since in herbal medicine it doesn't work like, oh, I give you, and then it's a whole bunch of other herbs, but I don't want to throw so much out there. I know, but I gotta start. Say it again. Oh. So in herbal medicine, it's not like, okay, everybody got a headache, here's an aspirin. You know what I mean? Everybody deals with, you may have a headache from the stress. You may have a headache because of the lighting in here. You know what I mean? You may have a headache because you're squinting like me and you don't have, you know what I mean? There's so many different things, and we deal with everybody accordingly, differently. You know, we all express our pain, our fear, our everything in different ways. So Genetian is for people who are just like oversexed, right? Just like out there, or who was out there and who just carry all that with them. That's for that type of. Lobelia is the people who have been not only oversexed but carry this darkness, like a guilt with it, right? Lobelia is a purgative. So when you take Lobelia, if you take a high amount of it, we call it a purgative or an emetic. I'm going to get back to this. So Lobelia can help you rid venereal disease. Anything that's stuck in your reproductive, any kind of darkness in your stomach or the reproductive system. No. Well, the second one. Lobelia would be like, you could use Genetian for guilt, but the Lobelia would be guilt and fear and darkness that you're holding on to that's associated with your sexual organs, right? What does that mean? STD. Because when we have herpes or when we have HIV or any of those things, We got those. You attract STDs through fear, or through sex guilt, or not standing in your power, not even knowing it to stand in it. So it's like, oh, I didn't really want to do this. I did it anyway. I didn't know myself, but it's always through guilt and fear when you deal with the reproductive system. So lobelia helps you do that. Lobelia is great. I have a book on lobelia. It's like 300 pages all about lobelia. And it's a very thorough book. It was a very expensive book. The lobelia, you can get it from any source, all of them. I get it in home. Like, if you can't get it, for the people who are on the phone who can't get it available, you can get it from me. But I usually go to what borough are you in? Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, you can go to the Sacred Vibes in Flatbush. There's a herb store on Nostrand Avenue. It's like Nostrand and Flatbush, I believe. It's been there for a long time. There's a lot of places in Brooklyn. Oh, there's one it's right on Atlantic in like 4th Avenue. It's called the Herb, or it's called Radical Herb. Yeah, it's like Atlantic Avenue. When you get off Atlantic Avenue, and yeah, Medina. Keep going like 2 or 3 more blocks. 3 more blocks. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. They're actually very cheap. Mhm. And in the Bronx, you got on White Plains Road under the train, on the Reed Avenue. It's him. Yep, His Imperial Majesty. They got a lot of herbs in there. It's on the Sioux line. Queens. Yeah. In Queens, you got the Sister Indigenous Remedies. I don't know where she is, but I know I stay connected with them via, social media. Say it again. Willoughby and J Street. That's an herb store? There's so many herb stores. There's also one downtown in the Village, or what they used to call the Village. I don't know if they still call it the Village these days. Let me know. Everybody that goes to herb stores, let me know. Because I could tell the rest of the people, but I do have herbs in bulk you could order from me. Up to you. I'll give you my information afterwards. I don't know if I have any cards on me. Squavine. Squavine is another herb that's more for women, right? So squavine, we use it through, I used to use it in my birth. I used to use it for when I was helping women. I'm a doula. So in the last hours when the baby's supposed to come, especially, this is during her home birth, squavine helps you be in rhythm to what's going on. So how it helps you but it is a birthing herb, but not only birthing for women who are pregnant, but so how squavine came about was that's a native term for woman chief, right? And then it was tainted, the word was tainted, and they used to call the woman like squaw woman, the pale man turned into like woman, like whore, and really made it derogatory. And so us Native women was like, no, like we don't care what you change into, we are still the squaw woman. And they didn't let that word beat them down, right? Like they didn't let that, they didn't change their word in their worlds or in their lives or in their minds. They still was the chief. And so this herb helps you kind of reclaim like your power. especially as a woman who know her power, which can be scary for people.
Yeah.
And it's very much so related to the reproductive system because it's about a woman knowing her rhythm and her movement. And that comes from your core. That comes from your womb. And so it's really kind of like a dance. Squavine is kind of like a sensual dance that a woman knows innately how to do to actually move and navigate in her world. And it helps you reclaim your power. So you like every time I take a Squavine bath, I'm on it. Like I'm so intuitive. I'm intuitive anyway, but like I'm like, this is, yep. Everything just comes straight together, and I feel confident in doing so. Like I'm not scared. And I'm just ready to handle whatever it is in front of me in perfect rhythm, in perfect harmony, and I'm in perfect timing. Damiana. So Damiana is one of my favorite herbs. It's one of my favorite herbs because it helps you find like that sweet spot in yourself. Damiana, Damiana. And so Damiana, if you work with Damiana long enough too, if you have any sexual debility, any issue with having satisfaction, being satisfied or gratification, or let me ask you a question. Who in here is satisfied with their life? With their life. And who feel like they have full gratification? Right. Anything, your desires, your wants, your ideals, your goals. Like, are you living a sweet life? Do you love yourself? Do you love your community? Do you have a perfect partner? You know what I mean? Do you just walk out and you know, outside and you like, I got my queen, you know what I mean? We sit. Well, this all comes from internal. I'm talking about not the things that come from your environment. I'm talking about the things that you already come with, that you have cultivated, that you walked into. This is Damiana. Damiana is living like the guilt-free life. Like there is no guilt in Damiana's world because guilt doesn't exist. Guilt will always tell you you'll never be good enough. Guilt is like true freedom. Not having guilt is true freedom. And so that's why I like Damiana, because you find your sweet spot. It's kind of like you find that part of your soul that's worth. If you don't want to live, if you don't know that side of the world, the side of life, it's hard to really kind of live, really. Yes. Or it helps you kind of clear the energy around you cultivating yourself. Damiana is definitely very, very sacred. It's that sacred part of yourself that everybody is afraid to go. You know what I mean? Everybody is living these lives because they live in fear and guilt. No? Okay. But most people are. Because if not, then we would, Moors, if not, then the brother that I went to a couple of months ago, I went to his court date with him, and there was only 2 other Moors there. Why wasn't the whole court full? Because niggas was afraid of losing their job. You know what I mean? They lived in that fear. It's always fear. It's always guilt. It's always something. You know, without that, we have freedom. Because you come in and we're going to get into that because we're going to get into the energy wills of our bodies. The first 2, actually. All right. So, yeah, so, huh? Yeah, I mean, he was an example. He was an example. But I've been to so many, and I'm just like, this is why. I don't know if they on the phone. I guess it's just. Excuse me 1 second. Sister Roz is like, she can't hear me. You want to share? My brother, you want to share? That could be one of the reasons. Or, they don't got to work. No, you're right. But I hear all the time. No, but I hear all the time, well, I had to go, work is something different. I'm not talking about like work, because work is, you could be an actual participant with the, you know what I mean? You being there supporting your brother, that's your work, right? I'm talking about like the plantation, you know what I mean? And that's another story, because that's false security. Even though it's easily debatable, I can understand how somebody could debate that, but that's your fear of you. Right. Mhm.
Speaking about, that people point inside yourself, that point inside yourself, when you feel good, you feel good, you don't feel any guilt, you don't feel any sort of obstruction, any sort of stagnation towards the world, anything like that, but you feel good. That's pretty much what she's getting on. I don't think she was just using the job and the plantation and the court
right.
as an example, but the main point is getting to the fact of how can we get to a guilt-free life. And the way we can get there is using herbs like Dalmanana, right?
Right. Thank you. Because, okay, so let's go deeper. No, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Because we have guilt. We have guilt. Or we have fear, right? We're guilty because. And we're fearful because we don't really know what our security comes from, right? We feel like the guy that signs our check is our supplier, right? So is our supplier. This is the one who gives us, when that's not where our wealth comes from. So when we connect it with the earth and when we connect it with the ground, and we know that we came in and we already have, right? That's like off the top. A lot of us don't know that because we have issues with our foundation. And we're going to get into that when we get into the chakra system. When you're dealing with your root chakra, you're dealing with your foundation. What are some things that are distractions to us all? Rent. Wait. Islam. Mhm.
somebody information, RVBey with this work, but you had that feature on that right. Yeah, no, this is wrong. Paul, Paul. Yeah, Paul is,
right. So the brother's saying that, you know, if we gotta go support each other, we need to let that be known in our workspace or whoever we work for, wherever we work, and here. Yeah, exactly. And in these places, I think we're pretty good with doing that. Like, we're pretty good for the most part. And if these people, a lot of people don't know, only the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Let people know what you're going through. This is how we can commune. This is how we build community. Two other things that I wanted to go over before the chakra system. I wanted to go over because we are in the land of sorcery, again, Emetic. E-M-E-T-I-C, an emetic. It's an herbal term used to describe an herb that helps you vomit. Why would you want to vomit? You may get poisoned. You may get food poison. You may get any kind of, somebody may do a switcheroo. Or fairy dust, whatever. It's important. It's important because we're not supposed to be eating out here, really. You know, you really don't want to be eating out of the same pots that savages eat out of. What they can eat, you can. And as you raise, the more conscious you become, the more you raise your vibration, the more sensitive you become. So there's going to be a time, or there may be a time, where you're really hungry or something's going on, or you're really thirsty, and somebody just hands you a bottle of water. You don't know whose hands that water been in. You know, and people don't have to physically put something, but it could be through, right, energetically. What are they thinking? You got a lot of people who are very strong in their mind that can do that, whether they righteous or they not righteous. You know, there's more people who are not righteous out here. So when you drinking that, you may end up sick. Some things, I used to always carry emetics on me, and a great emetic is Roman chamomile. When you drink more than 2 cups of chamomile, even the lobelia helps you too. Eat that. If you drink 2 or more cups of chamomile, you'll throw up. It's an emetic. It's very common. It's any herb that you see that gets rid of anything out of the body, anything that can get rid of poisons or whatever you see that gets rid of things, it could do the opposite. So if it gets rid of a poison or a bad spirit or bad energy, it could also kill you, right? So chamomile is very soothing, but it could act as a stimulant at the same time. Say it again. Oh, brother, the brother needs to see. Okay. So vulnerary, VULNERY. And a vulnerary is herbs that help stop bleeding. It heals cuts, bruises, wounds. We need this, right? Externally. There's some I'm going to give you internally, yes. Brother, somebody said cayenne pepper. It stops blood right away. I used to carry these things on me in case. I used to always be like, if somebody gets shot or stabbed, I have what I need. I used to carry a big bag of stuff. Yes, yep. Just sprinkle a little bit of cayenne. It may sting, but only for like a brief second, and it stops the bleeding. So let me write cayenne. Yeah, yep, yes. You to mix it for bleeding? Oh yeah, detox. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good. That's good. It's very spicy. That would be very spicy. But the sister said she uses cayenne pepper and apple cider. You know, again, it depends on like your constitution, your body. You know, depends if it depends on your body. You know, I couldn't do it because I'm already got a lot of heat in my body, so I wouldn't use the both of them. But for someone who is more cooler and more dry, that would be great. Yes. Question. Yeah, sweaty hands, greasy hair, oily skin. The brother said, could you tell if someone has a lot of heat in them? Again, like very sweaty hands, you know, really oily hair and skin, very fiery. You know, they can't stay in one place sometimes. Overheated, maybe they could get angry very fast, out of air, out of wind. You know, yeah, overheated people, and you know, you could even tell it in their lives too. Like I talked about this last week, like people who are just hot. You know, that the popos, policy officers always on, and you're like, what? You need to cool down. You need to cool down. And if you're very hot and you need to cool down, some good herbs to cool. You need to really, it's like your liver that's overheated. And so you like burdock, definitely dandelion. Maca is very good. It's definitely for hormones. That's something different though. Mint, peppermint, spearmint. This is to cool the body down. Basil is good. The basil would definitely be something like it's something that you add, but I wouldn't add it to these. But basil is very cooling. So just be careful with basil too, because basil could be hot or it could be cold. It could be hot or cold because basil has some fire components to it, so it's not straight like mercury. Like I do a lot of all herbs have astrological correspondence to them and have corresponding planets to them. So and elements too. So with elemental, like so burdock is water. Even though burdock, like if you use so burdock is not for everybody, right? Like I'm already a person who burdock wouldn't be for me, right? Yeah, I'm a very hot person on the inside. However, I already kind of got a little bitter stuff with me, you know? Like I don't need anything more like too bitter. And if I do burdock, I could do something that calm that bitterness down with like hawthorn berry or something like that. But I think we talked about this last week. Another herb that's great for cooling the body and cooling the liver and just like warming up the inside. Someone which is already, like for instance, for me, it's not going to make me more hot. It's just going to like normalize my temperature. Would be like Oregon grapefruit. So for people who need it, because burdock is a blood cleaner, right? It doesn't just cool the liver or cool the body. It cleans the blood. So when you clean the blood, you're going to go through some stuff, right? You're going to be breaking some stuff. Like you might be angry, you might be frustrated, because the liver holds anger. So all of those things are going to be coming out of you. You know, all those frustrations, everything you held down, everything you held back, your truth. You're going to start to speak your truth. And it may not be so nice. It may not be so good. And that's okay. But for some people who have emotional stuff with it, Oregon grapefruit will be good. Because if you're so emotional and you haven't did anything for like your hormones or whatever, everything is all over the place, burdock will make you'll be healing and you'll be getting your medicine, but it'll make you'll be a mess. You know, you could potentially get into fights, a whole bunch of stuff. So for people who have that stuck anger, overheated, toxic, emotional stuff, Oregon grapefruit. Because Oregon grapefruit will help things just move smoothly. You could get like it's not for every burdock is not for everybody. Women's hot flashes. So I always ask women, you know, that's going through menopause, I always ask them, do you want to have your menstrual again? Because it's kind of difficult if they want to have their menstrual. Because it's kind of a little bit difficult for women not to have hot flashes and not have their menstrual. You know, because a healthy body is a fertile body, even though that is a part of life. Oftentimes when I give women things, herbs, and maybe I can come up with another formula if I just take my time to, they get their menstrual, and half the women be like, I didn't want my menstrual again. You know what I mean? And half the women are like, hey, I'm happy. So, but chasteberry, vitex, even Damiana. Damiana, perfect. Mhm. Yeah, fibroids is definitely like a lifestyle change, right? Because I could give two women the same regimen for fibroids and it will only work for one of them, right? So I would definitely need to know what's happening in that woman's life, because what the fibroids are really is a combination of stress and all the stuff that you wanted to do that you felt like you wasn't able to do because you have 4 children and you work in this job and you going here and you going there. And the things that you really want to do, like that dancer in you or that healer in you, it birthed itself, but in the form of a fibroid and a cyst. And uncultivated just creativity, your creativity not being able to really come out, or just be suppressing it, just suppressing everything that you came into this incarnation with. So no one, you know, a lot of us are not using our gifts. Mhm. 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 And so we talked about this last week. It's not about like when you get into healing, what you're doing is you're taking all those things away from, like, those are myths that you can't afford this regimen, right? Because you're getting closer to the earth. It gets more expensive the further you get away from the earth. Like the further you go, the more you have to get for yourself to take care for yourself. The closer you get to the earth, the less you need. Like when we know that we don't need all this food on our plate, right? When we can, and when our body knows that, when we start saying, okay, we don't need this, you could take the pork chop out. You know, I could take the fake, you know what I mean, vegetable out. For an example, right? We could take the steak off. You know, we could take this, we could take that off, and to know that really what you need grow on a tree. You know, I can have an avocado, and you know what juice that I juice myself. You know what I mean? Like we don't need as much as we think we need, and we have all that we need. Really, I tell people all the time. So with the fibroid steaming, you know, I would also do the yoni steams, the vaginal steams, castor oil packs to help shrink that fibroid, no cyst. That's when you could look them up, but you would take castor oil, you put it on cotton, a cotton cloth, put it in the oven for about 5 minutes, put it on your stomach. You could put a heating pad, a plastic bag over it so that the oil don't get on, like the heating pad, or you could put some hot water in a mason jar and a towel on top of it for 45 minutes. And what that does is that basically takes the mucus out of the liver. It drains the mucus, the colon, the intestines, the womb, and it breaks down scar tissues. Anything that's there, it breaks it up. Castor oil. Diet is important. Like if someone has fibroids, you don't want to eat nothing that brings its own hormone. You know? Yes, definitely. The meat is terrible. Dairy is even worse for the womb than meat is. Dairy, it just kind of like all the cheese and the meat, it just kind of like molds on the womb and just like sits there, and it piles up. Your body don't know what to do with it, and it goes straight to the womb. It really is just more awareness. When these things are happening to our wombs, it's just, and we have this pain. These are messages. Like, it's not for us to just take something and keep it moving. We got to stop and listen to what our body is saying. Vulnerries, cayenne. You know, vulnerries, again, herbs that help in case we wound ourselves or cut ourselves, or we out and we in war. Plantain leaves grow where we grow abundantly. Plantain. Plantain leaves. Yeah, well, the leaf. And with the plantain leaf, you could put the leaf. You could use the leaf straight up. You know, anything that you can get, poison ivy, cuts, bruises, burns. Yep. And also a plant called yarrow. So the flip side of these things, yarrow helps stop bleeding too. You can do yarrow and cayenne, it's great. The flip side of these things, let's say someone, it's a little sporadic, but just to show you, because all these herbs I'm telling you about, you're going to keep hearing them over and over because there's so many. Herbalist said, don't tell me about 40 herbs you know and the different uses of it. Tell me about one herb that you could use 40 different ways, right? Yarrow, and I want everybody to, like, not just know these herbs on paper, but I want you to go and print pictures out, you know, so that you could be able to properly identify them when you're out on the street, and you could teach your children and you could use them. Yarrow and cayenne and yarrow and cayenne, they help stop the bleeding, right? Also, they don't also help to stop bleeding externally, but also internally. So yarrow, yarrow. And internally stop the, so what does that mean? Anything that excess bleeding internally. I like to use it in Ulcers is great, but I like to use it in when someone has a bleeding heart or heartbroken, right? Because you could die from a lot of people. You could die from a broken heart, right? So I like to use cayenne and yarrow for broken hearts. That's why, that's exactly why it's good for heart attacks, because it kind of like stops, it slurps everything that's pouring over. The yarrow, right now people are doing everything, so you probably could get it in capsule form. I would get it in herb form, the yarrow. Ingredients, right. So the brother brought up a good point. If you get anything in capsule form, first off, you probably have to take the whole bottle just to get. A lot of times, it just depends on what it is. But also, you got to make sure there's no gelatin in it. You want to do veggie caps. Yes, question. Well, cayenne pepper, you don't even have to boil the cayenne. Again, wait. This brother had a question. This brother says, could you just boil the cayenne pepper and drink it like that? Was anybody here from the beginning? And we talked about, exactly, steeping. What would we do with the powder? How would we use the powder? Well, we wouldn't boil powder. That's very delicate, so we would steep it, or you could put it in like smoothies, like the professor said, maca powder. You would throw maca in some of your smoothies. The cayenne, you could just put it in water. Cayenne also cleans the colon. It cleans the body and gets things moving. It's called, we would consider it in herbal medicine, we would consider it a catalyst. A catalyst, when you're doing any herbal, anything, a formula, you always want a catalyst in your formula. A catalyst would be like cayenne, hawthorn berry, motherwort. Catalysts are herbs that get things moving in your body. So anytime you do a herb, you always want to get a catalyst herb. Ginger is a catalyst herb. It takes the medicine to where it needs to go. It moves the medicine along the body. Yeah, if those of you who was here last month, I keep saying last month, we talked about golden seal, right? We talked about golden seal. I told you I do golden seal like twice a year. I do it for about 2 weeks, about 14 days to clean my blood. It really takes the infection and bacteria off the blood. Golden seal, we talked about the name of golden seal, right? It helps us repair our really deep ancestral, repairing our finances on a deeper level. And we talked about, golden seal. That's our golden seal. And when we can actually clean our blood, we can repair, we did that last week, but that was like the whole roundup of last week, how golden seal can help you repair your blood cells, your blood. It helps you with any kind of infection, any kind of toxins that may be in your blood. It's good for like viruses. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Sebi, I love Dr. Sebi. Before I even went to any kind of herbal medicine, anything, or started my herbal journey, it was Dr. Sebi. And so I have a different take on a lot of things just because I'm a declared Moor. So I kind of got a different side of the story. And so without that, I feel like you may not get it. right? So we talked about the garlic. Dr. Sefi is really against garlic. He don't talk about garlic. But what they come, well, I say, okay, garlic because, they came in with but the earth moves with us and around us. So what grows is what grows for us, right? So when we talk about garlic being for what? We know from garlic from the fight against what? The vampires. You know what I mean? So, with the information wise, you gotta look at who's giving you the information, the environment they in, their people. You know what I mean? Again, consciousness is just awareness. We all aware. A lot of us are aware, but whether you righteous or not, that's something different, right? And you got 85% of this and 5% and 10% doesn't all walks of life. But again, like in that little bunch, it's still kind of like separated because you got the people who want what they want and they want to rebel, and so they're going to come up with not talking about Dr. Sefi personally, but I know a lot of people out there that come out with curriculum, against me and my kind, right? And so that's what works for them. Yeah, so in my life, garlic works. It strengthens me. Right. It's great for everything. It really just keeps them vampires away. It keeps you strong. It keeps your immune system strong. It helps you fight against. Really, it's a mucilage, which helps you, and an anti-catarrh, which helps you discharge mucus out of the body. So you got to really think about certain things. And, we're living in a whole nother place, but the same place, to tell you the truth. We got all different grafted hybrid beans. We need a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? We're going to have to start picking up their stuff and using it against them. But everything we came up with. So, addictions. Oh, okay. Hyssop. Hyssop. I want to go back. I forgot to mention hyssop. We use hyssop for the common cold. But hyssop and bathing, right? So it was told that, like, for the enslaved, melanated beings who found their freedom, they had to go through hyssop. The hyssop took, like, it took that energy off of you, right? Like, so that energy of, like, that's like somebody coming in, that's like Pop telling the brother outside, like, this is what it's about, da-da-da-da-da, and, we Moors, da-da-da-da. They coming like, where's the fried chicken? I know I'm a Moor, but where's the fried chicken? Taking that spirit of, let's say, niggerism, right? So hyssop is really good because that was one of the first herbs that a lot of people had to go through to find their freedom. Just taking that monkey off their back, anything that that was a hindrance from you crossing over, raising your vibration. That's bringing. It's kind of like bringing your baby driver or baby driver issues into a beautiful new union. Not being able to get over what happened before. That hyssop will help you break, cross that line and let the dead bury the dead in a way. It just raises your vibration and it helps you, with those small things, common colds, illnesses that you just get out there for nothing, really. It can be for stress relief through temperance, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So addictions. So, later on I'm going to go more into addictions, like more thorough into addictions, because that's like a whole other thing. But cleaning yourself from addictions, what's good for that is flowers. Like, You can go and get some like white carnations, or especially like white flowers. Yeah, or even in your bed. Yeah, even in your bed, it lifts those things. Flowers help you because flowers bring they're very it's very subtle, like subtle, like very. It gets into the places in your spirit that has been like the void, the hole. It fills the hole.
Flowers, rose, or like you can have flowers in there.
Mhm.
You can take those, and like clear holes, and it's like some energy and stuff like that around it.
Yeah, because that's not how flowers work. I mean, like you don't really like the flower energy and medicine. It's like light, right? So when I'm wearing black, I'm gonna absorb. And so if I'm wearing white, I kind of like, reflect. And that's the energy of a flower. Like the flowers, you don't really absorb the flower energy. The flowers share their energy with you. So flower medicine is good. Flowers, flower essences, that's the medicine from the flowers. But they help. And again, it's not like one flower bath and you're like, I've been clean. I'm clean. So it's a journey. It helps bring peace. I know that this sister that I was working with a long time ago, she had like so many things coming in and out of her, like big time. You would never know, but she worked in the industry. So she was dealing with a whole bunch of different sorcery and stuff like that, and she would go home and no one would know that she was really like having attacks. Like when she met me, she said, I only sleep 2 hours a night in 20-minute intervals, and it's been going on for 9 years. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So come to find out she was having these attacks. Everybody else would think that she's crazy, but it's a lot of our people going through these things. And we did so many things, and what really helped with flowers, because they bring a peace, and they fill those voids and those cracks, and they're very soothing to the spirit. How much time do we have? Okay. Clothes. Okay, I'm so glad. Okay, so I'm glad you said clothes. So, okay. If you want to break anything, any kind of like juju or anything that may be like that's big time on you, and I have people that come to me all the time like I got something heavy. Spiritually bathing is important. A lot of people don't understand you going out. We pick up certain things and we don't connect the things that we're going through to the things that happen throughout the day, right? And how anybody seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington? Now you see how energy was transferred like that, right? That's real. That's so real. And so I'm saying this because the sister mentioned clothes. So clothes, it cleans the blood, right? Clothes, if you want to get rid of eczema, anytime you deal with the liver and the blood, is you dealing with your skin, hair, and your nails, and cleaning and restoring and repairing these things. Clothes is a powerful protector, and it breaks it, right? It breaks up all of the chaos, all of the bad luck, you want to call it, all of the disease and infection in your body. Cloves is very powerful. I like to mix cloves, pimento, and lime. So you would do a decoction. Again, what's a decoction? Is when you boil the hard parts, because pimento is it's pepper, but it's pepper and it's hard. Yeah, you can say it. It's in its natural state and it's hard. I usually decoct the cloves and the pimento, and I squeeze a few limes, and I would do it in. You want to do it in odd numbers, like 3, 6, 9. When you take any bath, you want to do it in odd numbers, unless you're doing like a bittersweet. That's something different. Clove pimento and lime. There's a sister I know, another customer. She's in a very abusive relationship, and she felt like her boyfriend and her boyfriend's mother, her kingman's mother, was like stopping her, preventing her from receiving things, and her, just she hasn't had, since she's been with him, she's had like terrible luck, right? So she was like, she came home and things were on her walls, and every time his mother comes, a lot of stuff. So as soon as I told her to take this, and it broke everything up. She was able to be kind of like free again. Like people started calling her old friends. Her flow was right. People feel stronger. Did I miss something? Oh, okay. She's a lot stronger. This is a great pick-me-up. This is a great, like, I'm strong. And you won't be sick either. Like, if you're going through any kind of, like, flu, cold, whatever like that, it's a great get well very soon. Boil it, throw it in the tub with some lime. It's, like, one of the best things you could do for your life. I mean, and drinking it, too, of course. Yeah, drinking it, too. And you could use. I would use the clove, but you gotta boil it, the fresh clove. Just because you can get the potent medicine that is potent form. If you was just drinking it, you would do a standard dosage, which is a teaspoon. A tablespoon per cup. My apologies. I'll wait for you to finish. You feel free to share. Okay. Right. And you could use it to clean too. The cleansing. You can use it to clean your floors. You can use it like go in. This is how you spiritually protect. Yes, very aromatic. And of course, it's good for nerve pain. And when you have dental problems, clove is really good for like killing that nerve pain that you just chew it, boil it, chew it. If anybody got any issues with their dental or whatever like that, I can help you save your teeth. Call me. Because there's a whole bunch of things you could do, and that's one of the things that I've mastered, kind of. For clothes, it helps with dental pain temporarily. And so think about that how nerve pain felt, and when something gets on your nerves, right? And clove is that powerful. So, that's exactly how it does spiritually. Like that thorn in your side. It's able to tame all that stuff. Anything that helps, clean the body and clean the blood because it's very fertile. When we think about, fertile land, you think about land that has been, that's non-toxic, right? You can't be toxic. Right. You're able to move better, you're able to think better, you're able to breathe better, you're able to communicate. All that. When you're doing that, you're fertile. So all this stuff that we've been talking about brings us into, I'm going to go into the chakra system, and we only have 15 minutes left, but I can start with the root chakra. Anybody could tell me, I asked earlier if anybody knew what the chakra system was, and we went over those are the energy centers of your body. That's your spirit. That's the you that you don't see, right? That's how I described it. How I like to describe your chakras is your energy wheel, or your energy disc, or your subtle body, that's your spirit, is the seven chambers in your temple, right? So how to restore, how to fix the 7 chambers that's within our temple. So the first chamber we have is the root chamber. And so our root chakra is our base chakra. Anybody knows about the root chakra? Anybody heard about it? Survival. Shango. The Kundalini, yeah, the base of your spine. Your base what? Desire. Or it's your foundation. It's like to be here and to have it here, right? So your root is so broad. It's like everything with your structure, your bones, your teeth. Like if we didn't think about the root chakra as being our bones, if we didn't have our bones, how would we stand up? How would we hold ourselves up, right? You can't. And so if we have issues with our intestines or our feet or our legs or our prosperity or our adrenals, or what else the root chakra represents? Our land, our structure, property. We got issues with our root chakra. Abandonment issues, mother issues, daddy issues. It's all about getting back to the earth, right? Connecting, not being intuitive. That's the root chakra. So when our root chakra is closed, we living in fear. We got to go to the plantation every day because we don't have money to pay rent. And we need to pay rent so that we can have a structure over our heads. Like that's that type of living, right? Literally. When we already have, this is our birthright. The root chakra is our birthright. And to be on the flip side of it is to fear and to live in fight or flight. So you are already connected. So we have to filter out what is disconnecting us. Right? Is it abandonment issues? Some of us, what are the thoughts and the beliefs that you have that stop you from doing the things that you need to do, or need to have? Some of us were born and we were raised and have these like, oh, we're not worthy enough. Or you don't need that, you have it already. So now you have like a false sense of security or half sense of a security, right? Or we don't feel like we need these things, or we don't have just the things, the basic things that we need. Right. So it's like your stability. It's definitely your stability. And the root chakra is red. So you want to hone in on the color red. We talked about some herbs for the root chakra, dandelion. Oh, okay, so we all heard of Roy G. Biv, right? Growing up in science. Right, the color, right. Roy G. Biv. And we've been taught on it, on the color spectrum, and according to science. Those are our chakras, right? The 7 chakras, the 7 powers, the 7 seals, the 7 candles, and the H is something different. But Roy G. Biv is red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, blue, indigo, violet. And violet is the crown chakra. And so the red chakra, the root chakra is that vibrates on that color red, right? And so red is very, hot. Red is also, in the spiritual realm, is like go. And you know how they say, let's put some fire under your ass, you know what I mean, to get you going. To get you going. It's ruled by, Mars. Ginger helps with that. But, like, so let's talk more about this. About your stability. About your gravity. About you being connected. About you being, say it again? Moored? Yes. Right, connected to the land. The root chakra is all about the material world. It's all about your physical body, right? You getting proper sunlight, you getting proper diet, exercise at the least, like, and you having it to do it, right? Like, you're not worrying about not having it. You already have it. You came in. This is your birthright. You came in heirs to the land. If you knowing that, living that, and being good with that. Once you got, that's only the first chakra, right? Like, nobody has all their chakras right. Because if we did, we would be in better situations. Yes, if we read the Circle 7 Quran, we can start it. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother, for that. Islam. So we got to work on our root chakra, connecting back to the land. Putting your feet in the soil, yes. It's all, and what's so important, what's so interesting about the root chakra is totally physical. Like, it's really connected to your mother. It's like the easiest thing with the hardest thing. Prophet said, know your stuff and get back to the land. But we ain't back to the land. Why? What are our distractions? Mama didn't take care of me. No, it's not. It's the things that get in the way from us thinking the way that we think. Right? Right. Stockholm syndrome, yep. So this is, and with dealing with your root chakra and healing your root chakra, it's like going through, red is fire, right? And that's like what, like kind of like the first, like it's like fire is like refinement, right? And like fire you could even burn or you could illuminate, right? And it's like a baptismal, right? So this is the time where we rebirth ourselves. This is the time when we correct our appellations, right? This is what we do when we say, no, I'm not Larry. I'm Moon. I'm Suleiman. Right. And here's my, right, how you, right. And I'm not eating that no more. I'm not being around those people. That's not who I am. The root chakra is I am. La ilaha illallah. Who are you? Like, really. Not what you have been told. Not that girl in the 3rd grade that told you were stupid or you wasn't pretty. Like, removing yourself from all of those things that we've been told. And today we walk around with those things, right? We walk around like these are the hottest sneakers, so I gotta wear them. Nobody says this new season's clothes is whack. Like, everybody goes with the flow because we're used to this being beautiful, right? When are we gonna like unravel those things from our brains and rebirth our own concepts and images and things like that? It's about taking those filters off. It's about being secure in who you are and what you know. Going through that baptism, going through that fire, rebirthing yourself. So like the sacred animal for that is the elephant. The elephant is very grounded. The elephant is very wise. The elephants don't have to fight with nobody, right? They're so secure. The elephant is one of the most securest animals ever. Like, nothing is coming for an elephant. Right, but they're still usually, that doesn't usually even ever happen, really, because the habitat that elephants go is different places that you'll find elephants, but nobody. You don't. This class was a funny class tonight.
When the elephant, they had them in packs, but the cats are on the wall. And the lion was looking like it's free. And it was about to attack the elephant. And a mob, like, they just came from nowhere. They just can't eat it.
That's crazy. I wonder where that was.
But it was just the foundation of all of them being together.
Right.
Protecting that baby cat.
Right. For all those online that's about, we're about to wrap up the call. If you need to get in touch with me, it's Kiru Ill at 718-775-7433. It's 718-775-7433, and that's peace2thegoddess@gmail.com. PEACE, the number 2, CHEGODDESS. @gmail.com. That's peace2thegoddess@gmail.com. That was for my. I'll write that on. I said it to the Blog Talk people, Blog Talk family. Thank you, Sister Roz and Sister Ani E, and all those that shared the space with us tonight. I hope you got a lot out of it. And for the people that are here, we could still continue until we are ready to leave. We got a few minutes too. Yeah, I'm anti-website. I had a website and I'm just let me tell you. So I work out of Philly in New York, right? And so I'm at the shop in Philadelphia, and I do this in Philly. And you just a family place, right? And one day I got like, and it happens when we get a lot of people, a lot of agents, like people who send, who cares? You know what I mean? It happens. However, when you get more of them than the regular people, it's a problem. Not to say that I feel like I have a lot of work to do. And I don't want, like with my space, I want to work with those who really need to be helped, and people who we need, because I get a gift out of it as well. Every person that crossed my path is a part of me that needs to be healed, and that's how I see it. And I don't have no time for these other things. So a sister comes, and she calls one of I work through referral mostly. Somebody usually has to vouch, for you, so I can connect if something happens. And so she calls out of the blue, and she's like, I need somebody that does this, this, and that, specifically what I do. And so the sister goes, oh, I know someone who does that, and give her my information. And so I spoke to her on the phone, and I heard loud and clear, I heard my spirit say, oh, she's sent, right? All right. She's been sent. She's been sent. Right. So, and sometimes it's not like agents. When I think agent, I don't always think agents sent from like the fictitious government. Sometimes it's just people who are trying to come in and create their own agenda and distract you from what you're supposed to be doing. Right, exactly. And so she came, and energy was scattered or whatever like that. We did her work. She left. As she was leaving, it was another sister that came in the interim of us talking, discussing with her children. I've never seen this sister or her children before, but she came into the shop, and as the lady left that I was dealing with, the little boy he was probably 3 years old, and he goes, bye, police. It was the most craziest thing. Like, Just, it was so, like, he just said it so, like, so, yeah, and he was like a Pisces little. I asked the mother, I said, when's his birthday? She said, oh, he's a Pisces. I was like, wow. So, you know, things it is what it is, you know what I mean? But in that hour and a half I was talking to her, I could have been talking and working with somebody else. That's how I see it. Like, I protect myself, but at the same time, like, it's a waste of time. Right. That's just here to distract and throw you off. Right. And it was loud and clear. Like, I know she heard. She just kept walking. So that's why we got to protect ourselves, you know, because if not, then I would have went to sleep that night and seen all types of programs, you know, running through. Just protect yourself because you don't know who you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You just don't know. Just all these things that's not part of, like, everything's from the source, but then you got things that came from the source, if that makes any sense. So many layers that could be definitely detrimental to what you're doing and who you are. But work your root, you know what I mean? Internally, externally, you know, use the material from the earth to connect, to learn. You know, the more and more and more I study, the more I know it's like I need to just study from nature. It's not really, everybody's going to give you their interpretation of herbs. It's their own interpretation. But until you connect with that herb itself, how do you connect with the herb? Any herb you want to deal with and you want to work with, I want you to take just that herb, walk with it, you know, put it in a little sachet, walk with it, drink it every day, put it under your pillow. You know, be intentional with it. Before you do that, thank the herb and ask the herb, show me who you are, because these herbs are spirits. They have life to it, you know. And so you'll learn. It'll speak your language. It may not do the same thing it's going to do for you, but it's going to do exactly what it needs to do. So you may come to me like, yo, I had this herb and all these people was coming to me and I feel more social and my heart feels a lot lighter. And you may say, wow, I got a lot of sleep. And so that's how intelligent herbs are, because they go to exactly where you need them. Yeah. So do you have any questions? Not about herbs. Okay. First question, brother. Uh-huh. Is that also good? Fasting is excellent. Fasting is excellent. Depends on, so how I usually tell people to fast, if you're not like, it depends on the person you are, right? Like I tell people, they're like, okay, I want to change my diet. I don't ever suggest that you just go cold turkey unless you're that type of person. You know what I mean? Or you're going to go hard and go cold turkey, and then you're going to go back to sleep. You know, the same thing. You can't give yourself too much. Right. So if you're a meat eater, I would start with, like, let's not eat meat every day. Right? If you eat meat every day, let's eat meat 2-3 times a week. You can. I would only do that transitionally, though. If you could find other things before doing the fake meat, and if you could do that, find other things before that, that's better. But if you're going to do it through the fake meat, use it only transitionally. No, like, wait. Biologically, soy is worse for the body, right? No. Yeah, soy is soy. Like, that's like saying Hillary or Trump. You know what I mean? Huh? Right. But, however, if it, like, some people, it won't work. Like, some people, they need something, heavy and need a transitional. So I always tell people, okay, you need transitional, do more soups. Like especially for this time of year, like navy bean, lentil, those things are heavy, right? They kind of sometimes like potatoes, I would do organic. Like the beans, the bean soup. If you have to do the fake meat, again, put yourself on a timer, right? And not every day. Again. But see, you got to be careful with the wheat because, like, not only because of the wheat allergy, wheat is addictive, but like they spray a lot of Roundup on the wheat now, right? So it's not really the gluten allergy people are having. Roundup. That's what it's a. Yeah, and it's a chemical. Yeah, and it's a chemical they use to like kill bugs and rodents and stuff like that. And so that's what's really giving people that allergy, that gluten allergy. It's what they're spraying on it. So yeah, try to do as less. Lentils is really good. It's very hearty. Mushrooms is a great. I don't eat mushrooms. They do have different mushrooms. So So mushrooms. What mushrooms? Okay, let me tell you. Mushrooms are like the caucasoids, right? Okay, so let me tell you how you would use them medicinally. If you have cancer, again, I would go to a mushroom. Why? Because everything that's been taken from you will help you repair. Mushrooms take from everything around it. It's like a vampire. It'll take all of the minerals and nutrients of all the plants that grows around it. That's the bad part. The good part of it, it has everything you need because it took everything from around it. You know what I mean? It depends on anything that you cook that's high in minerals and nutrients. You really want to. You don't want to cook it high. You don't want to boil it. Yeah, you want to like roast, saute things lightly. Again, I'm not a mushroom eater, and I know I should be more well-rounded, but I'm the type of person where if I'm not into it, I just shy away from it. Mushrooms. I like a lot of I do a lot of vegetable stir fries. Like not really fry it, but I like just saute a lot of the vegetables. Like I like doing broccolis and Brussels sprouts and peppers, and I like to put it on quinoa. It's about being creative. Like again, yeah, it's about being creative, really thinking outside the box. And you don't have to eat so much food like we think we have to eat. It's not like a 3 square meal day. That was all after the Industrial Revolution when everybody had to get paid off and they was trying to appease the industry, which is a direct war on what's natural. You know what I mean? So just getting more back to a natural mind, you don't really need all those unnatural things. We eat a lot of those stuff to really feed the lower vibrational vices we have. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I do gotta eat a little fish to be on edge with these people in New York. You know what I mean? Like, really. I get like pushed to the side sometimes. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Let me go get me some. You have to, because it's crazy. Now, so, yeah. Any questions? Any more questions? It's up to you. It's your personal question. The brother got a personal question.
I'm going for 44 days, but I did 22 days, right?
Mhm.
And so with what I realized also is like, yeah, like a lot of anger, a lot of everything, you know what I'm saying, like depression, stuff kind of left. But then also,
you did 44 days straight?
I did 22. I was going for 44, but like, I started to cook. I started, I guess like making like vegan meals and stuff.
Okay.
And I got tired of like just trying to know what the meal tastes like just by smelling it. And I was like, I gotta try. I can't, honestly, I can't trust everybody. So like, I want to try myself. And yeah, long story short, I'm not sure if it's probably like, if my standards probably like raised or improved or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like most of the time I may have like if my sex drive, you know what I'm saying, pretty much diminished because like I'm like turning down offers pretty much. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm like on somewhere I'm like because like this whole year I've been fasting from everything. But like this time where I fasted from food. And like once this happens, you know what I'm saying? Like once this happens, it's like I've been like getting off of it. But it just doesn't. So I don't know, somebody just doesn't feel right. But I'm just trying to figure out, is that something that also happens with the fast?
That's good. Yeah, because you're going into a higher. Okay, so you're going into a higher vibration, and so when you raise your vibration, those things of the physical realm, it's like, it really doesn't matter, And then, so it's like, say for instance, you start a new something, right? Let's say you want to work, right? And you go into a community and it's a lot of work for you. But when you first come in as a rookie, you got to follow all the instructions. Like you down here, you got to abide by all the rules. Once you abide by all the rules, you can work yourself up. When you go up this far, those rules down there don't apply to you no more, right? And then once you go even further, then you can kind of do what you don't have to be. So you can do whatever you want. You can leave, you can come back, you can run things or whatever like that. So when you raise your vibration, and the more you raise your vibration, the things that was once that took those things your vices that was more powerful, your flesh, right, was more powerful, that was more in control, was probably leading your way and things like that. It really doesn't matter anymore because your sexual energy and spiritual energy is one and the same. So when you're trying to look for sexual gratification, that's why Damiana is very important because it helps you find that pleasure spot within yourself, right? So you are your own gratification, but it's coming through spiritual energy, right? Oh. So then once you go up there, then you go to a place where you start cooking again, right? And then you're balancing yourself out. So now you're neither like oversexed or undersexed or you're balanced. Does that make sense? That was, congratulations on your fast.
I'm a faithful patient for her, by the way. From about a good 3 years, she's always driving with whenever I hit a brick wall in my life, she's really amazing and she's not going to beat you in the head with practice or nothing like that. She's really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember you saying you fast from everything. I wasn't sure exactly what I did that at the beginning of the year, and it was my birthday. I was down to
You should throw some dates in your fast.
my fast is done.
Oh, okay. Good. No, your dates is.
So with that, I didn't know.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what